Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Baldwin and I'll be talking about learning in the workshop model today. For many years I've worked closely with the Teachers College Reading and Writing Project, and I've seen in my own school the impact that this philosophy has on instructional practices and student learning. My question for this project was, what are the learning theories and teaching methods that are found in the Teachers College Reading and Writing Project Model for Literacy? Right now I'm going to talk or give a brief overview of the philosophy and the background of Teachers College and the workshop model. So for 30 years, Lucy Calkins and her team of educators have been really spreading this message of high expectations within workshop, focusing in on student development, and really helping teachers hone and practice and develop their own teaching practices to really enhance student learning. This has been taking place at the Teachers College, Columbia University in New York, and where she has established this Teachers College Reading and Writing Project. The work expands all across the world in just about every continent, I guess, and really, almost every country has some form of Teachers College Reading and Writing Project in it. Why I say every country? Because this philosophy has been adopted by our international schools, and this is how they teach K-8 literacy. So let's talk about the workshop model. First, we start off with a mini lesson. This is a 10 to 12 minute opportunity for the teacher to provide direct instruction to students. This is done through a specific architecture that you can see listed here. And basically what the teacher's thinking about is, what is it that I need to teach my kids? How am I going to explicitly model it for them? Give them time to practice it with a partner and really connect it to the work that we're doing within the genre. Then, once the mini lesson's over, the children engage in independent work time. This independent work time is for about 30 minutes, up to 40 minutes, and children are doing a variety of things, and the teachers are using a variety of instructional practices. So if you were peeking into a workshop classroom, what you would see happening is a majority of children working independently. And what fosters their ability to work independently is that they are working on their own independent level. So everything within the classroom is highly differentiated. In addition, you may see the teacher pulling a group of children. The group of children that he or she is pulling is working on their instructional level. So the teacher knows what they've already mastered, what they've already accomplished, and is giving them the information and skills that they need to move to the next level. You may also see a teacher meeting with a child one-on-one. And what goes on in the one-on-one teacher conference is high level of questioning, and the questioning is to find out and hear from the child themselves what their reflections are on their learning. And while they're reflecting and while they're talking to you about their learning, what you're deciding as a teacher is, what am I going to teach this child to continue to enhance and grow them in their work? Also, what you might see happening during the independent work time are children in reading and writing partnerships or book clubs. This work through peer-to-peer really advances their thinking, and we'll talk later about this idea of them engaging in argument, in the skill of really developing their own thoughts and ideas, and how this discourse can lead to higher level thinking and engagement. You may also see during this time the teacher kind of capture all of the students' attention and, for just 2 or 3 minutes, remind them what it is that they've been doing within this unit, coach them to do some more specific things independently, and that just takes a few moments, and it just kind of focuses children in what it is that they're going to be doing or should be continuing to do during the independent time. To close the workshop period, we have a share time, and this brings it back to the focus of how the work that children did that day in class is situated in the overall unit. The teacher may also pull student exemplars from the classroom. This is not exemplars that are always the highest level. The teacher is thinking about the tiers of learning that are happening in the classroom and having students showcase their work based on those tiers so that all students can see themselves in the classroom. Additional components within the literacy block are shared writing, interactive read aloud, and you can see what those components are here. So how does this relate to learning theories? So let's take a review and or a look forward into the theories that I think best apply to the work that's actually happening in workshop. So first of all, we have situated cognition. Nathan and Sawyer define this as how we make sense of the world through the interactions with the environment. As you can hear in the overview of workshop model, children are really provided the opportunity to read authentic texts and using mentor text to deconstruct and learn how an author uses craft. Children are also engaging in discourse that affords them the opportunity to make sense and expand upon their learning. We also have constructivism, and Jean Piaget argued that all learning was mediated by the construction of mental objects that he called schema. The development of schema is further enhanced through social interaction, including the use of language. And how that applies to workshop is that learners in the workshop model are able to construct schema throughout the workshop through their interactions with the teacher, each other, and reading and writing in authentic ways rather than following a program that may not really show students real-world context for their work. The other theory that I wanted to talk about was American pragmatism. John Dewey developed child-centered pedagogy where the child's interest and experience drove the learning environment. And this is a really key component to the success of workshop model. And what happens is children are self-selecting reading materials. They're generating topics that they want to write about, and they're taught on their current instructional level. In workshop, our students become that catalyst for every instructional decision in the classroom. We don't have a textbook saying, well, you must do this now or this, so I want you to really be thinking about what's the high level of teaching that needs to occur in a workshop room as well. So let's go through the workshop components, and we'll start talking about the teaching methods. So a mini lesson, you can see the definition there by Calkins, and really in each component of the mini lesson, we're really thinking about Vygotsky's zone of proximal development. The teacher needs to be crafting mini lessons that are meeting the needs of students. If you see workshop happen in a special education classroom, where maybe it's an inclusion room, you may see two teachers delivering two mini lessons at the same time. And this is really focusing in on that zone of proximal development. You also see children working together during active engagement and that idea of collaborative learning to help construct their meaning. So that's the beginning of workshop, and then at the end you'll see share. And this is not an author's chair or simply students sharing their work aloud. What this is actually an intentional instructional move on the part of the teacher. And as I just shared a little while ago, what teachers are doing is really thinking about how the share can further enhance their students' work and through the exemplars. And what Sobolewski says is that through this appropriate scaffolding that's going on during the share, and a teacher's able to establish within the reader or the writer this confidence to move on to difficult skills. And that's really what's happening in share time. We have this really heavy, bulky time of independent work time that's going to take me a minute to talk about. But again, it's this idea of meeting individual student needs. I talked a little bit about small group work. Again, this is the homogeneous grouping, where the teacher is preparing lessons to improve student skills to the next level. That idea of conferring, or meeting one-on-one with the students and being responsive to the students' needs. And inherent in both of this is the idea of scaffolding, and what's happening in scaffolding. And Wood, Bruner, and Ross introduced this idea of scaffolding as how children, with the help of someone more knowledgeable to share and support their problem solving, can perform more complex tasks than they would otherwise be capable of performing on their own. In addition, they say that scaffolding enables not only the performance of the task, but also enables learning from the experience. We move on, and what you will also see inherent within workshop is this idea of formative and summative assessment. This is the key to making decisions that happen day to day, month to month. You just heard me speak about the importance of the role of the student in the classroom and how the teacher makes decisions from there. And, that's all done through this formative and summative assessment. Also differentiated instruction. Reeves states that the essence of data-driven decision-making is the final choice. The decision is to act decisively and appropriately. And, Creighton goes on to say, collecting data without purpose is meaningless. Well, within workshop model, the teachers must be data-driven, and that data-driven actually helps them to differentiate their instruction and provide students with a variety of learning strategies, and also is considering the individual learning styles of the students. So we're on to interactive read aloud. Interactive read aloud is not necessarily part of the actual workshop model, but it's part of the literacy block, and Teachers College has been very specific in what an interactive read aloud is, and the importance of it. And so interactive read aloud occurs in between, in most classrooms, in between writer's workshop and reader's workshop. It kind of bridges the two workshops and bridges the content that's going on in both reading and writing. And so what teachers are doing in this is they are reading a story aloud to students, but it's not just reading a story for pleasure. There's a very specific intention to support the genre of the work in workshop model, or skills that the teacher sees that the children need to further develop. So there's a complete intent going on here. The other thing is you can kind of question and say to yourself, well, if children are working constantly on their independent level, how do we have them read on grade level, which might, there might be a difference in level. Well, through interactive read aloud, we're able to bridge that gap by exposing children to a higher level of text that they can read independently. What the teacher's also doing through interactive read aloud is having children interact with one another and share their ideas about the text that they're hearing. They're practicing skills of identifying those characters, character traits, motivation of the character, and they're also looking at this idea of author's craft. And through that experience, it's really engaging children in the reading process, and providing motivation to continue to read really interesting books. Also, we have book clubs, and I wanted to point this out, that during independent time, children may be engaged in book clubs, and really what that is about 4 to 5 students that are all reading the same text, and they're engaging in discussion about that text. And there's really clear way that we do this in workshop. But what I wanted to point out is that through book clubs, what we're really engaging our students in is argumentative learning. So while they're reading these books, they're developing this idea, strong opinions about characters, about their decisions, about themes within a text, about the author's craft, and through citing what they're finding in the text, children are able to back up their ideas, which then catapults them into being able to engage in discourse with one another. So Adrian and Baker assert that students collaborate in argumentation, then they are arguing to learn. The learners accomplish a wide variety of learning goals in this format, and argumentation involves knowledge elaboration, reasoning, and reflection. And we can also really think about Webb's depth of knowledge here. So, instead of just spitting something back out at, your teacher or another student, what we can actually do here is, show that we have a higher understanding of what's going on because we're able to engage in this argumentation. I think the other big thing that it does is really teach the social awareness of how to be able to argue effectively. And if we think about how we prepare students for the world, that's a skill that they're really going to have to develop well. So what are my findings? What I have found is that our country has spent billions of dollars trying to develop literacy programs that are teacher-proof. That basically, I used to say to my teachers, basically it's not about them teaching it. A robot could stand up there and teach the class and we would still get the same result. What we did was we wasted billions of dollars trying to develop that and find that because what is this role of teacher? And, or what our children need really are exceptional teachers, not a teacher-proof program. So the workshop model is a philosophy of instruction grounded in learning theory, grounded in teaching methods, and it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It actually sees students for who they are and intends to develop and grow them. So by recognizing the needs of the learner and expanding teacher skills to meet these needs, this philosophy allows teachers to meet students in their current zone of proximal development and progress individuals through the continuum of reading and writing expectations. And we see growth, we see independence, and we also see a love of reading and writing that come out of it. So I share here with you my references. There's quite a few of them. But thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a great day. I look forward to your feedback.